Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Friday, the 10th of June. I'm Derek Clark. I'm joined this morning by Joshua Barrie at Rangers Review HQ. How are you doing, Joshua?
Yeah, good to be in the office, Derek. So hopefully my connection and everything's okay, but no, good to be with you as ever.
Yeah, fingers crossed it holds up. Okay, folks, before we talk all things Rangers, just a bit of housekeeping as ever. You can see the little ticker below. We've got a great offer on the website just now. It's £2.99 per month, but if you sign up now, you get the first month totally free of charge. It is a fantastic deal. Just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe for all the details. And as you can see as well, the One Football app is our sponsor. It's your one-stop shop for all your footballing needs. The good thing about it is not only do you get loads of content regarding Rangers, lots of Rangers review articles on there, but it is totally free, so it won't cost you a penny. It's available for both Android and iPhone users, and it's a fantastic app. Joshua mentioned it a few days ago that he got the Goldson update when he was on holiday, so it's fantastic. You can keep up to date not only with things going on in and around Ibrox, but further afield. Keep up to date with what's happening in the Premiership and also down south across the border and further afield over the pond in the continent as well. So it's a One Football app, folks. So many of you downloading it now, and I'm hearing great reviews. So great stuff. If you've downloaded it, and if you haven't, then go about doing so. Okay, let's talk Rangers, Joshua. I love this comment that's come in because it ties in with what we're going to start talking about from the aptly named Broken Nose Boxing. Morning, folks. A lot of clubs have been signing players. Still seems all quiet on our end. Now, this ties in nicely with a piece that's on the website this morning, folks, from Four Lads Had a Dream blogger Stevie Clifford, in which he states that it has been quiet on the transfer front with regards to Rangers. But that's exactly how they want it to be. Of course, the Goldson situation is a fine example. I don't think many people saw that coming. They keep transfer business in-house. There's not many leaks, Joshua. And that's really credit to Ross Wilson. You'd imagine that is a state of play. Although I'd imagine for some supporters, it can be quite frustrating at times.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's something in a way that a lot of us don't know that much about transfers, because in the past, maybe it was more a situation where player A wants to move, they'd go to the press, it would be all very intentional. Examples like when I think Robbie Savage went on strike, that kind of thing. It was quite dramatized. Whereas whenever clubs maybe who do business properly now do such deals, make such deals, it does seem to be done very quietly. And the Connor Goldson situation is a really good example of that, of the club no one throwing the toys out the pram on either side of the bargain. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst said just after the Europa League final he thought the chances of Goldson staying were small. And ultimately, I think, both ends, Ross Wilson and Goldson, spoke about the importance of respect between the two parties, and Goldson committing another 4 years because Goldson was given the space to decide what he wanted to do. Now, as we've discussed before, it's a bit of a unique situation, but I thought Stevie's piece, which was excellent, and the link to that is in the comments and over on the rangersreview.co.uk, kind of makes the point that should we really expect, or should supporters really expect plenty of transfer rumours? Is that a good thing if that happens, or is it a better thing if the club do their business in quiet? And in a way, we've seen the reports. I think that Rangers chief scout might be on his way down south. I don't know if that's been confirmed, but in a way, and with Gerrard now not at the club, and Van Bronckhorst and Ross Wilson having his own man, as we've discussed before, this does kind of feel like his first big summer, Ross Wilson, where it's just him. He's not got Gerrard there to allure signings in. He's probably maybe he's got a little bit more control over the transfers going in and out. So it's a huge summer for him, and what he has done. You look at a signing like Aaron Ramsey and Amad Diallo. Neither of them worked out, but at the time, obviously, there was a lot of excitement over them, and it was very quiet. It was done kind of very quietly. It was done, and there was no noise until the actual transfer was really done. Even the Ramsey one, it wasn't until the day. So it'd be interesting to know what people think about it. Do they think it's a good thing that it's quiet on the transfer front? Do they think it's a bad thing? And I guess, as we've said, probably the last few days, Derek, is that you'd imagine Rangers will be interested in a lot of players, as every club is interested in a lot of players, because I guess of how globalised football is and how accessible the scouting markets are with all the kind of stats and data and video analysis available now. But is that the transfers that come in very dependent on if a big sale goes out, and does that determine whether it's going to be a refresh or a rebuild? So it's only early June. Obviously, pre-season's still about 2 weeks away, 2.5 weeks away, or something like that. And you'd expect a couple of players to have maybe come in by then. But as I say, I think it might just need catalysed by either one big incoming, one big outgoing, and then there'll be a little bit more of a refreshing of the squads in some important areas.
Yeah, point made by a couple of folk. Ian McDougall says it isn't today the official opening of the summer transfer window. That is correct, Ian. That is so we may see some movement, not only just with Rangers, of course, but other clubs as well. The interesting point regarding this, I wanted to bring that up. We need to get it totally confirmed, folks. Ross raises a very good point here, though, Joshua. With Andy Scolding heading to Spurs, would you expect Ross Wilson to appoint a chief scout from his Premier League experience, or would it make more sense to appoint someone Giovanni van Bronckhorst is familiar with? This is an interesting one. This could be a very important decision and appointment for Ross Wilson. I'd imagine he'll be liaising with Giovanni van Bronckhorst. It's vital to get the right man in.
Yeah, well, Ross Wilson obviously was at Southampton before, and Southampton's actually a pretty good example of, I think, the manager being not so much a pawn that comes into the place of the club, but the point of a sporting director, I guess, is they are the constant figure. They theoretically should not be changing every 3-4 years like a manager, and in football's constant, ever-changing form that it's in just now, where apart from a few exceptions, managers change all the time. I mean, what's the longest serving manager in the Scottish Premiership? I can't think off the top of my head. It can't be more than 2-3 years. If anyone knows, put it in the comments and help us out.
It's an interesting. It might. I'm intrigued now. Folk,
might be Robbie Nielsen.
Let us know. Maybe Robbie Nielsen. Yeah, could very well be.
But anyway, the point of that is that, you know, Van Bronckhorst, based on the way that football works, Van Bronckhorst probably won't be here in maybe 4 years, just because managers change so regularly. Whether that be because they go down south, whether it be because, as was the case with Gerrard, although Gerrard went down south, I think in hindsight the need for a refresh either in playing staff or staff was quite evident, based on the kind of a bit of a stagnation after the title winning 55 season. Martindale, that's a good shout. Maybe it is Martindale.
Yeah, Millerman may very well be.
Yeah. So the point I'm making is that, you know, you need the constant figures, and probably you need someone that's more ingrained with the club style as opposed to a certain managerial style, and the manager comes in to fit with that. So I wouldn't rule it out, but I'd imagine that it will be Ross Wilson's man as opposed to Van Bronckhorst's man that comes in to be head of scouting.
Yeah. I think I agree with regards to that. Good question coming in here from GTF. Not spending last summer cost us at the Champions League group stages and eventually the league. Board needs to back Gio now. I think they will, Joshua, in the summer. I think we spoke at length about the squad needing a bit of surgery. Of course, players have to leave. I think there will be movement with players heading out the door. And the squad needs refreshed. I think Van Bronckhorst has went on record after the Scottish Cup final and saying that. And I think there will be funds available because, of course, they do have the Champions League qualifiers ahead of them. I think there's 2 qualifying rounds, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that if perhaps, I wouldn't say learning a lesson. I think that the Malmo game sticks out. You should be able to beat Malmo, I think, in the second half when you're 1-0 and you're down to 10 men. But I think it's important to get your players in early.
Do you know what always sticks out to me about that Malmo game? Obviously, it was the first full house since maybe the Bayern Leverkusen game, was it? Obviously, certainly the first full house since Rangers won the 55th league title, and up until halftime, it was just such a good occasion. I mean, the noise was amazing when Morelos scored that goal. And it's one of these occasions that one of the many tinges of regrets about it is that it's not remembered as kind of a bit of a famous night, because obviously Malmo had that ridiculous spell at the start of the second half, and it's a really good point about not spending to get into the Champions League. But you look at what that squad did in Europe this season, and as we've discussed a few times, you obviously have to understand what were the board trying to do, not only in not maybe bringing people in, but in retaining the services of the likes of Kamara and Morelos and Kent, who were all at that time, let's not forget, after Rangers won that title, their stock was really high, and they just come off from, Kamara, brilliant individual season, Kent the same. Morelos was coming back into his own kind of after his injury hit midway through that season. But by the board retaining those players, the quality of that squad is kind of, inarguable, because they got to the Europa League final. Malmo, I think, was an underachievement for two reasons, one of which is we've discussed numerous times, Derek. You look at the way Malmo attacked in that game, and you look at the trend of teams starting to work out how to play against Steven Gerrard's Rangers, and the predictability of defending the centre, the repetition of the first goal and the style of goal that Rangers conceded just before Gerrard left for Villa. I think that's a big part of it. I think freshness was a part of it. You could see Malmo, maybe 10 games through their season by that point.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, while it's a good point, I think, about the underinvestment, I also think it was maybe a little bit of a unique situation in terms of that team under Gerrard stagnating somewhat in Europe. And you could see that in the first couple of games in the Europa League group stages, even in the Alishkirk game as well. It wasn't until Van Bronckhorst came in with the same squad that the board wanted to retain, but he freshened up the playing style. He did something different. He added variables to their game that they managed to kind of reach and exceed their potential in Europe. So I think it's a good point, and obviously Rangers need to make the Champions League. Not from a viewpoint of if they don't, they'll be in trouble, but more from the point of they can't miss that opportunity again, especially because Celtic have the Champions League money. But as I say, I think that the squad's demonstrated their ability in last season. Maybe, hopefully, in hindsight, will be viewed as more an issue with the lack of variation and lack of changing things up, as opposed to the actual quality in that team.
Yeah. We've got some latecomers, folks. John Dooley says, good morning, Derek and Joshua. Sorry, tuning in late, just back from the hairdressers. What do you get, John? A two back inside?
That's an early one for John to be in the hairdressers.
It certainly is. My haircut of choice is, I think it's been the same for about 20 years. Two back and sides and trimmed down on top. Joshua, what do you ask for when you go?
It just depends, mate, doesn't it? It depends. Depends what time of year it is, what I'm going for, how much stick I want for my hair. But at the moment, I've been getting the same one for a good few months. So I just say to Gary at Badlands, which is where I go, same as ever, Gary. And we have a nice wee chat, and he's a big Rangers fan, so it's always pleasant.
Superb. Gallant Pioneer says hairdresser, do you not mean barbers? Yeah, I go to the barbers, to be honest. Lovely Chinese lady in Warrington does my hair. So, shout out to her. But, fantastic stuff. Let's talk Rangers again, because that's why people have tuned in here. Alexander Cameron makes a couple of good points, Josh, I wanted to bring up. Well, the first, with regards to the Malmos, they just couldn't score, and that was the story of our league campaign not being clinical. But he poses a question to you. I'm just going to bring it up here if I can see it. There we go.
Is this about the attacking number 8s?
Yes, we need attacking number 8s, 10s, because I think Aribo and Lowry is the only options. Maybe Hadji once fit, but right winger is definitely needed. We touched on the right winger, but yesterday with Adam. Go and check it out, folks. A number 8 and a number 10. Do you think that's it's pivotal? Rangers bring a body in or bodies to fill those roles?
I guess we don't really know what Van Bronckhorst is going to do. Say Rangers have maybe not 60 games like last season, but say they have 55 games to choose a round number, and 45 of those are domestic games. Maybe 35 of those are trying to break down teams. That's very different from the kind of 5 at the back that he played against Leipzig, and that's what's kind of definable, I think, as Van Bronckhorst football so far is. Variable and flexible and adapting to the opposition. But I think it's a good point that Alex makes in terms of how do you then get a sufficiently attacking midfield for the games at home, which is what Van Bronckhorst I think that's what he favours. High and wide wingers on both sides, fullbacks a little bit more defensive, and then two midfielders who go beyond. And obviously, Aribo and Arfield at the very start of Van Bronckhorst's time. You remember I think it was Livingston 3-1 away, Derek, where Arfield scored that goal. Aribo scored as well, and they were both excellent, kind of attacking those spaces. Lowry's played more out on the left for Van Bronckhorst, but I guess it really depends what he's going to do with that midfield structure, because what is going to be really interesting for me over the kind of August and even pre-season period is seeing how Van Bronckhorst moulds the squad more into what he wants to do, or how much he still has to adapt to the playing staff. I mean, what do you think? Do you think Lowry's going to play, more than 10,000, a lot of minutes in the season, more than 1,000 minutes? Can you see him being a key player, or do you think it will still be a case of when the squad need him?
I hope he becomes a key player. I think he's good enough. I'd like to see him play more. It's dependent. Van Bronckhorst is someone historically who has given youth a chance, and that gives me encouragement that he's going to have more of a say next season. Both Lowry and King, as Will Wilcombe gets in touch and says, I think Leon King has got a part to play. I think with Balogun departing the club, that sort of clears the pathway somewhat for him also. Yeah, so I think both players have got a right good chance of having more of a say in the first team, in and around the first team. It'd be good to see. I'd rather, of course, back in the summer, Juninho Bacuna came in late, didn't he, to the club, didn't really impress it, and you'd rather the young boys get given an opportunity rather than looking to bring players in, I think, just to fill jerseys.
But Gerrard didn't really give many young players a chance, and whether that's because he didn't think they were good enough or whatever, but Van Bronckhorst has. So play Alex Lowry, as we always say.
Yeah, absolutely. Some interesting comments coming in with regards to the what you get at the barbers. This is a good comment. Give me a Hadji is what Joshua says.
Hadji changes his haircut all the time as well, doesn't he? So
he does.
To kind of specify.
He absolutely does. John Dooley says, just shows me how bald I'm going. He goes for a 9mm sides and back still though. So
clean.
Yeah, good on you. Short back and no hair for the old curry muncher. Roy Nelson gets in touch. Hi, Roy. He's going out soon for a haircut and looking for a fridge, no less. So good luck with your fridge hunting, Roy. Another question that came in that sort of, we touched on it briefly yesterday, Joshua. 55 Kings, Ravi Matondo rumour is very exciting. I know you're a very busy man. Have you done any more investigating into the Welshman?
Looked a little bit at him yesterday, Derek. I think the actual initial reports came out from Germany that both Rangers and Celtic might be interested in him. Obviously, he was on loan in Belgium last season. He's a Wales international. The main thing I was interested in last season, because he scored 10 goals in the Belgian top flight, which is obviously a good standard, but that was off the left. He can play off the right. I don't know but he's right-footed, so I don't know if he's that left-footed answer off the right wing. But yeah, looks an exciting player. Wouldn't mind him coming to Ibrox, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Another question. I mean, Ross Stewart. We've touched on that. It came in. I can't see it now, but we've touched on Ross Stewart. I think
I've seen a question up the comment section about Rangers having needed a winger for a while, and I kind of think that's not very true. Personally, this whole thing about we needing the right winger for 3 years, because Rangers haven't played with the right winger since last November. You know what I mean? Are you going to disagree with me? Because I'm gonna come back on Kemar.
Well, there's a comment yesterday saying that they haven't had someone that's so naturally positioned out there since Daniel Candeias. Now I know he sort of split opinion. Daniel Candeias. I was a fanboy. I thought he was brilliant. Gutted to see him leave the club, but that's what it is. But I don't think Rangers have replaced a guy. I mean, he's not the most technically gifted, of course, but he is so hard-working. He'll give you 110% every game, and he is capable of moments of brilliance. Remember, just before he left that goal in a pre-season game. I remember that the Spartak Moscow game as well. Yeah, and I don't think Rangers have filled that void, Joshua.
Well, but then Kemar Roofe scores 14 goals in the league from that right-sided position. I think the thing with Candace is in Gerrard's system, Tavernier was always high and wide, and Candace couldn't really come inside the pitch in the same way. And that's why I think they linked up very well under your likes of Kashinian, Murty, and even the Gerrard's first season. But someone like Roofe, or even Hadji, who splits opinions but got really good numbers in that season. I was looking at that team yesterday for a piece that's on the website today, looking at how Rangers have kind of changed the formation over the last few years, how they've developed, and that team was so good. and in a way, it felt a bit short-lived because it was only a season of total dominance.
Yeah.
But the likes of having Roofe in there with Kent, providing the pace in the top line, Barisic and Tavernier, the quality of their delivery, Aribo kind of being the auxiliary extra attacker, it was a perfectly balanced team. When Van Bronckhorst comes in, when Roofe gets injured, then I think the need for a starter is more evident. But I think Roofe and Hadji, for me, they added a really good balance into that team that won the league. And Candace, I think, he was a good player, but I don't think he fitted into that narrow system as well as the other players did.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Okay, folks, that'll do us there. Thanks to everyone for interacting with the programme as ever. It is very much appreciated. Remember, just a reminder for our great offer on the website we've got on just now. If you sign up now, you get a free 30-day trial. You get full access as well to the website. Just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe. Only £2.99 per month thereafter. It is an absolute bargain with the content you do receive. Okay, we'll be back again on Monday. But until then, enjoy your Friday and your weekend.